She approached us, asked us, could we do it? Like any entrepreneur, I said yes. No, honestly, I had no manufacturing capabilities. I had no network here. But I thought, let me say yes and I'll figure it out. Again, going into that risk element, right? So that was a super risky move, but obviously paid off. I still remember the first set we got was it was bad. Like when I mean bad, it was bad. Dubai is one of those places where it can become quite difficult, because if you're around people that are constantly growing or constantly trying to do different things, but you're okay with your lifestyle, you almost feel that, am I doing something wrong? If you want to try to do something different and it fails, it's not a bad thing, right? It really isn't a bad thing, because you've tried and you've learned something. I've learned more lessons on PalmFit from my professional career to life lessons, everything, when it's gone badly. Because if everything goes well, you're not really learning stuff. Things might happen, fate, or you just might be in the right place. But if everything goes well, how are you going to adapt when things go wrong?
Welcome to Gold Standard Time with me, Richard, bringing you stories of innovation, reinvention, and self-development from the Middle East and from right here in the capital of ambition, Dubai. My goal is to inspire and challenge anyone that's dreaming, doing, and pushing for more. So let's get into it. Today's special guest embodies the entrepreneurial spirit and ambition that defines the modern Middle East. In a city where professionals are not just excelling in their careers, but also building meaningful ventures on the side, few stories capture that drive quite like his. Hanish is the Senior Vice President at HSBC and the founder of PalmFit, a Dubai-born activewear brand that champions authenticity, boldness, and resilience. His journey is proof that in the Middle East, ambition doesn't have to be one-dimensional. You can thrive in your career and build something extraordinary at the same time. So welcome, Hanish.
Thank you for having me.
So you're from the UK originally. Can you talk to me about where you grew up, what that was like, and what ambition looked like in the early days?
Yeah, sure. So I was, like you just said, right? So born in the UK, born in Leicester. Come from normal family, 2 brothers, parents, kind of all of that world. But sport was quite a massive thing for us. Growing up, we were always into football. My family all season ticket holders at Leicester. Then through school, sport was obviously a big thing, but it was always grounded around education. So my family, my parents instilled those values to us. Education is super important, but we had an outlet with sport. So obviously being in a house with 2 other brothers, my mom was a bit sporty. So my dad's always been sporty. So growing up, like I said, it was always education and sport. And then as I grew up, went through kind of that school system, that sport value kind of instilled with me. I always took it through uni, for everything. So when it came to university, my background was obviously genetics. That's what I did at uni. I never did a finance degree or a sport degree or anything like that. So it was always the plan to try and be a doctor, typical, the Asian dream, right? To be a doctor. And then through uni, I decided that I wasn't really going to do that. I didn't want to follow that path, didn't want to do anything like that. So I took the decision. A lot of my friends were doing finance. And it came to a point in my 2nd or 3rd year of uni, I didn't want to leave uni without a job, right? You go to uni to get a job. And I just took a chance and I thought, you know what, let me try and see if I can get into a graduate scheme for a bank, see what happens. And then long story short, I managed to go through that system, and that's where I am now. So it's always been finance, but with kind of the inkling of sport. Yeah. And then I obviously wanted to try and start something with PalmFit.
Okay, nice. No, thank you very much. And the training ground of finance in London early on, what was that like? What was that taught you?
So for me, because my background was super different, right? Like I said, I didn't do finance, didn't do economics. I kind of knew the concept of things. I had no educational background in that. So even my A-levels were all science-based and a bit of maths. Going through uni was genetics. It was never finance. So it was a quick learning curve, but I'm quite a big believer in you can learn things on the job. Same with PalmFit, which I'll touch on later on. But the training aspect of it was very much on the job. So you go in your desk, you learn different parts of finance, but it was never a point where I felt I was at a inferior aspect because I didn't have the finance element. And the other thing that I think that set me apart from everyone else was I was a bit different, right? I never had that trajectory of economics or management or anything like that. And I think a lot of people like that because from an interview perspective or a conversational perspective, I had something slightly different. And so it was always a case of they saw that I studied genetics or they saw that my background was science. And then it was like, why are you doing finance? Why the switch? Why this? Why that?
What was your answer to them?
It was more that I just wanted to do something different, right? Like, I think educational system gives you a concept of life skills, right? I don't think that it gives you, especially from a genetics background or a science background, it doesn't give you the tangible tools to become a scientist or a geneticist or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
It just gives you quite good concepts of learning. So I could use that for different scenarios. The other thing as well is, what I found was a lot of these companies want to mold you. They want to imprint their learning style or their way of teaching to you. So if you have this, almost this background or a solid background of how you do things, it can become quite difficult.
Okay.
Whereas for me, it was just a blank canvas, right? If you told me to do something or you showed me a way of doing something that worked for your company or worked for the standards, then it's kind of easy for me because I don't know if it's wrong or right. I have nothing like that. So I think they really like that. And then going through the graduate scheme, learning everything, and you have to learn things quickly because you can get found out quite quickly. And obviously it's not like university. It's not, it's not like that. It's like the real world. And for me as well, is adapting from coming from Leicester, which is a very small town, very like, everyone knows everyone, and it's kind of like a nice, safe environment to like the big world of London, which I had absolutely no idea. Like,
had you been to London before?
On holiday and stuff.
Yeah. And how did you find living there as like a young fresh grad?
Mental. I still never forget the first time, right? So I was living with my family in Epsom.
Okay.
Right. And I had to go to Canary Wharf. So it was, 2 trains, an overground and underground. And this was the first time that I kind of just did everything by myself, right? And I'll never forget the first time I went on a tube, I asked someone, can you just tell me like where it is? And the response I got was, there's a map, have a look, right? And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Because in Leicester, it's a little different. Like it's not massive, right? To go from your house to the city centre, it's like 15, 20 minutes. Okay. And it's not that bad, right? It's like 1 or 2 buses, you kind of know the way. And even if you drive, it's easy, right? Whereas this was like, I had to figure it all out. So I just quickly learned that, you're quite independent in London. Like I was an independent person in Leicester, but it was just on a completely different scale. And even like little things, sound silly, but like seeing skyscrapers and stuff in Leicester, we don't have skyscrapers. I'm making Leicester sound like some backwards country or backwards city, but it's a bit of a mad one, right? So I had to quickly adapt, A, with the lifestyle, and B, with like the job, which I think set me quite well for moving here. Okay. Right, because straight out of university, I didn't go back home. I just started renting and living with family, and then trying to buy my own place. And I think that background really helped me.
Okay. So how many years did you spend in banking in London? So
I did the graduate scheme at City. I did 3 years there, across like a magnitude of products. It was really good grounding because you do like different product classes, right? So I was doing like loans, I was doing operations, a little bit of FX, a little bit of tech, and you get a good section of everything. Yeah. And then from there, I moved to Goldman. So Goldman Sachs, I was there for about 2 years. Then moved to an independent bank called US Bank. I was there for around another two years. Okay. And then I got the opportunity to move to Dubai with HSBC, and I've been here now. This will be my 8th year. Wow. So yeah, quite a lot of different banks. Yeah. A lot of like different people, a lot of different nationalities, but the product class has always been in loans. I've always worked kind of different parts of loans, whether it's the tech side, the operations side, or the kind of the deal side. It's always been one or the other of that.
Nice. And so a strong finance background in London, what drove the move to Dubai?
Yeah. So I came out when I was at City, so graduate scheme. My cousin like lived here. She was working for the F1 in Abu Dhabi. Okay. She was doing like procurement and stuff. So fresh grad, being paid a decent salary. I thought, let's just go out and see what it's like. And on day one, she took us to the Dubai races. Right. Okay. And obviously it's insane, right? You come here and you just see a different class of people, different mindset. It's just madness. And I'll never forget when I went back, I was like, one day I have to move out here. The problem I had was, this was 2011. I moved out 2018, right? Sorry, not 2011, 2009. I did my graduate, I finished that kind of work. And then it took me a long, long time to come out. But I've always wanted to come out, right? But the problem I had was the role I do in HSBC right now is quite specific. It's quite niche. Not a lot of banks do that role. So the role that I was trying to move out for was super limited, right? But it was just something I always wanted to do. I just got the Dubai bug. Yeah. As soon as I landed, it was just something I never experienced. It was like London, but on steroids. It was just completely different. Like just that expat-y life, it just really, really drew me in. And then I just, told myself that I need to move here.
And when you did finally move here, what were your sort of first impressions?
madness.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, right? Like, when I moved out here, it wasn't, and it's really crazy. I've only been here 8 years, but in the 8 years, like everything changes like super, super quickly. So it's that fast pace of life. You get a really big sense, like everyone does it. Like when you land in Dubai, as soon as you get off the plane and you're on like the terminal and you just get in your cab and you go and you see all like, downtown Dubai and stuff, it's just something hits you. It's either going to hit you or you're just going to be a bit apprehensive about it. And there was just something in the air. I don't know if they put something in the water here or there's something different, but it was just that mindset of entrepreneurship that I really, really like. Like a lot of people here want to do something. They want to better their lives. And I'm not saying that, in the UK, people don't want to do that, but here you're just surrounded by a whole host of people.
Yeah.
Whereas what I found in the UK, there might be 1 or 2 people in your friend circle or in your network that wants to do that. Whereas here, it seems like everyone is trying to do something, or everyone is trying to better themselves, or everyone's trying to do just well in their job, and they're just constantly trying to build. And just being around that mindset, I really, really liked that. I really enjoyed that.
I agree, man. I think since moving here, and again, you contrast it well, I think, to the UK. I think because the UK is a home country to most people, to many people, people tend to choose to move to Dubai for certain reasons. And so, as you said, you end up being surrounded by more of those types of people. Whereas in the UK, you're kind of around, friends, family, people you know from school, people you know from sort of your area and whatever. Whereas here, you're sort of thrown into a concentration of people that have chosen to move to a place for a certain reason. And so immediately, literally on day 1, week 1, you're just meeting people all the time that are that way inclined, which I find really, really
even
inspiring.
and this is what I found difficult in London, right? I think everyone, not even just London, just in the UK, everyone has their friend circle. And it's very difficult to then kind of bring more people into that friend circle. And a lot more people like, I've got this set group of friends or this set group of family, or this is my life, right? I don't really want to change it. And I was fine with that. Like I just played football with the same people, went to school with the same people, uni, everyone was kind of the same. Whereas here, everyone's gone through a journey of moving. 100%. So it doesn't matter if you've done it 8 years ago, a year ago, 10 years, 20 years ago, you still remember moving out here. You still remember that first month, 2 months. So everyone's, from a conversational standpoint, straight away, you're kind of sharing something with someone on a very small level, but then that opens up to other conversations.
This is it.
Whereas in the UK, it's quite difficult to do that. Unless you went to the same school, you're from the same area, or you know someone. You can do the small talk, but to build something like of value, it's challenging, right? Whereas here, like take us two, for example, right? We saw each other in paddle. Everyone's super friendly. So if you need that, that network of whatever you're trying to do, it's much more achievable to get it here than I think it is in the UK. I think it's a bit more of a challenge.
I agree. And I think what you just said, like there is the balance of people that are like really hungry, really want to do well and succeed, but they tend to also be like really open and friendly as well. And that is not a balance that you get everywhere. I think generally if you find people that are really like driven, they tend not to be as open. They tend not to want to share details of what they're doing or whatever. And vice versa. Maybe if you find someone that is super friendly or whatever somewhere in the world, they tend not to be maybe as driven or whatever. But here, that ambition paired with the openness and the friendliness, I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
I do think, it's weird. I think, because obviously we are from the UK, sometimes I think we don't, obviously we are the people we're talking about. We had our friendship circles and you sort of hang around with those people. But I did find, and you probably saw the same in banking, you have people that come to London from, I don't know, Paris or Spain or from the US or whatever, or Singapore. We had a few people as well. And they tend to hang together after work. They have sort of their...
Is that a clique?
Yeah, and even like they see each other, they see each other at the weekends. And I just kind of think like, well, I don't really see work people at the weekend. I see my people at the
exactly.
But I guess it's kind of that, but here is like, that is the world of being in Dubai, whereas everyone has come here. So the people that have moved to London as an expat maybe have a similar experience, where the people that have moved here, that's all of us.
Everyone,
kind of thing,
everyone.
So,
like that's such a really good point, right? Like a lot of my friends are like, obviously we're all kind of Brits and everyone sits together, but I've got pockets of friends that are like French. I've got pockets of friends that are Lebanese. I've got pockets of friends that are from Egypt, right? Whereas in the UK, I never had that. They were just people that are from London. I either went to uni with them and that was my circle. And that kind of got wider and wider, but you shared a common interest. Whereas here, I've not lived like, loads of places, but here is the one place that I find that you have friends from way more nationalities.
100%.
And even, for example, my son's school, right? When I was at school, everyone's from the UK. Like I never really had exposure to nationalities. Whereas at his school, it's like every single nationality I can think of is there. And I was like, the exposure that he gets from a really young age is insane, right? Because one of the things I really regret from school is I never picked up a language. Like we had the option to do it, but it's in the UK, it's not really a thing that people do, right? You learn at school and you kind of just drop it. Whereas here, like languages is quite a big thing. You hear people speaking, French, Arabic, and the opportunities they get from a really, really, really young age is massive because obviously the nationalities that they're communicating with and speaking to on a daily basis, speaking a different language will help. Yeah. And that's kind of the different shift in mindset I'm talking about, because in the UK, they don't have that. It's not there. Maybe they just don't feel there's a need for it, but also there's probably not the need to, mingle or integrate with different kind of nationalities. Whereas here, you're doing it every single day.
Yeah, no, that is very true. So sort of 7-8 years in Dubai, how has it changed in the years that you've been here? Like, what are the key differences now to then? Because I've been here not just over a year, and I can see changes and differences and roads that didn't exist before and buildings and schools and stuff like that. But from your perspective, you've probably seen like so much more. Like, what are the main differences, even in the way that the city works?
Yeah, so look, in terms of like a work, basically from a work perspective, the type of people that are coming into what I can see from banking are a lot more sophisticated. Okay. They're a lot more, I felt like when I first joined, just from my product, just in general, it was quite a new thing. So processes weren't that high tech, processes weren't adapting. But one of the main things that I see here is wherever there's change comes really, really quick. So when I moved here, like Friday was a weekend, right? So I had the Friday, Saturday thing. And it just seemed like overnight things changed. Whereas again, going back to the UK, if we did that, that would take years. I still in the UK, I think they're trialing this 4-day week in some companies and no one really knows what's happening, right? Whereas here, and one thing I really love here is if something needs to change, it changes quick and people just adapt, right? And that's what I like. I like things that are changing quick because instead of having this massive, massive period of time, if something's going to change, let's just change it and we'll get it on. So that is one thing. Excuse me. The other thing is the infrastructure. Okay. So you can see now when I moved, there were still buildings being, constructed, there was roads being constructed, but here it seems like it's just taken off completely, right? It's everywhere you go now, it's kind of just being built on. But the other thing is the city's getting bigger and bigger, right? Because when I moved here, I lived in downtown and that was kind of the pocket. Okay. Now I live in Town Square. I still remember to this day, we had friends that lived there, and this would have been just 5 years ago. And I went there and I was like, this is miles away. Like, who is living here? I'm one of those guys now, right, that I live there now. And before I was like, this is miles and miles away. But the majority of people now are moving there with families and living on the outskirts and coming in. So you can just see that the whole scope of Dubai is getting wider and wider and wider. So yeah, those would be the main change. I see infrastructure's got so much more better. There's also like a plan. You can see a plan here, whereas I don't see that anywhere else. Like they know where they want to get to in a couple of years or 10 years or 20 years, and they're implementing that plan. So for example, like the metro, right? The metro for people in Town Square is going to be insane. That's coming shortly. But also, like I said, just touched on before, from a working perspective, the people that are coming into Dubai, from what I've seen is elevating what we're trying to do here.
Nice. Okay. So let's continue on that work path. So you're senior vice president at HSBC and also the founder of PalmFit. What inspired you to think that you could actually live life on both of those planes?
So we started PalmFit during COVID, right? So COVID happened, like everyone experienced it, right? The world kind of just stopped or paused momentarily. And during that time, I think everyone was just at home and thinking what to do and how they could do something different. And it was kind of a nice reflective period where you had a period of time where you could just, see what you wanted to do. And then it goes back to that Dubai kind of mindset of entrepreneurship and things like that. So I've always been, like I said to you earlier, I've always been into sport. Like I've always liked sport, whether I'm good at it or not. I've always wanted to do some sort of sport.
I've seen you play paddle.
I'm rubbish. So I wanted to do like some form of sport product. Like I just wanted to do that. So the banking side during COVID, no, it didn't pause, but it did decrease, right? In terms of, deals happening and communication and all that stuff. So I had a bit of time to do that. So like anyone, that's trying to set up an activewear brand, went on Alibaba, found some products, thought I'll bring them in, see how that works, try learning that process. And then PalmFit kind of just took off.
Okay.
Because there were still people working out. I still remember like the car park runs and, you know, in your house, everyone was on Zoom doing some sort of workout.
Okay.
I remember it was,
car park run.
so you know, in the car parks, the multi-story car parks.
Okay.
People were doing like 5Ks just going up and up and up.
Really?
And up. So where we lived in downtown, we had like access to there was a car park opposite and you could see it on your balcony.
Okay.
And literally every night you'll see just people just running because they couldn't go out, they couldn't go to the gym. So it was literally in the car park just running up and down,
Wow.
up and down, up and down. And I think there was someone organized like a 5K or something. Obviously it was all staggered and COVID appropriate, but they did some form of 5K in a car park.
Wow.
Because that was the only time that people could actually go out. Like it was super strict here. I still remember to leave your apartment. So at that time, banking was still it wasn't as busy as it is now, but there were still deals being done. And I still remember I had to get a document signed. So you have to obviously go in the office and sign it and then, you know, send it to wherever you need to send it to. You had to get a letter issued by the government for you to go out. So I still never forget, like I came out of my building and work was literally a 2-minute walk and you got stopped and you had to show, you know, this is your letter, you're allowed to be out. So it was super, super strict. So again, for people trying to work out, it was the only option.
Yeah. That's such a Dubai thing though.
Yeah.
And I wasn't around during COVID, but to know that people were, obviously much of the city is like in the clouds, right? These super tall buildings. But to know that during COVID, people were keeping fit, which is also a very Dubai thing.
Yeah. It's massive here, right? Like fitness is humongous.
Fitness is, and I think it has a lot to do with the way that people see themselves. Again, the types of people that you find here, most of them are people that do want to feel good, want to look good, want to work out, feel their best. And so, to know that people are sort of running through or up and down sort of the multi-story car parks is...
it's also a mindset shift, right? I feel like the people that I've spoken to, they all have this common interest in fitness. Like they just want to, like I said, whether it's, you know, aesthetic, whether they just want to improve, you know, their fitness goals, or whether it's just a mindset shift. Yeah. Maybe they just want to, you know, they feel better when they work out in the morning and their day. But there's always like a centralized thought around fitness.
Yeah.
So we did the Alibaba order, we had a look at some sets, and it kind of worked. They kind of sold. So I knew that there was potentially a market here, but I had to offer some form of differentiating factor, right? Because that's what a lot of people do. They'll go onto Alibaba, they'll go onto all these other sites, and they'll buy a set, stick on a logo, and then they call it a brand. I didn't really want to do that, but at this time, that was really the only option. And also doing any kind of entrepreneurship, there's always this risk, right? That, I'm going to put some money into it. Yeah. And it's the fear of, if it goes, then, you know, how does that affect me? But we took a chance. We did the whole Alibaba thing, and then we just did like door-to-door sales, or online sales like Instagram and WhatsApp, and people started buying the sets. So I knew, like I said, there was a market here, and that's kind of how PalmFit started.
Yeah. And you mentioned that, there's that little bit of fear in terms of, am I going to lose my money or is it going to go well? Why did you consider that and still say yes?
So it's something, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like the risk is always there.
Are you a risk taker?
I would say yes, but I would say I'm a conscious risk taker.
Okay.
So like the risk is always there with anything you do, right? Like literally anything. Like you see these off-plan properties, or if you want to buy a house in Dubai, or you want to set up a business, there's always risk there. You just have to weigh that up. You just have to say, okay, 1, 2, 3 is the risk factors. Am I covered on ABC? So that's what I did with PalmFit, right? I didn't put a huge amount of cash flow into it. I did like 1 or 2 sets, 1 or 2 colors, see what happens, see if there's a market for that. As soon as that market came in, then we went bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay.
And that's kind of the mindset I have in most things. Like I try to take risk, but it's calculated risk. And that's how we went.
Okay. And because PalmFit strikes me as like quite a conscious, like purpose-driven brand. When did that start to sort of feed its way into the brand? Because as you said, sticking a logo on a piece of kit that you bought from the Far East, whatever, isn't a brand. Yep. When did the actual branding side begin to sort of grow out, and how?
So we wanted to do 2 things. Being a new brand, especially in activewear, marketing costs are insane, right? Some of these big players are paying a lot of cash for marketing. I don't have that, right? So I had to think of a way in which I could get exposure without it breaking the bank. Okay. So one of the things we did was we did small time events. So just after COVID, there was F45 in downtown. They ran a competition. They asked us, can you help us and give a set of kit? And this is why I think timing and network and an element of luck is super important, because the winner of that tournament was working for quite a large developer, and that developer was building WellFit. So WellFit's like this massive gym in JBC. They've got Sharjah. They've got quite a lot of gyms, and they needed uniform. Right. So she approached us, asked us, could we do it? Like any entrepreneur, I said yes. Like, no, honestly, I had no manufacturing capabilities. I had no network here. But I thought, let me say yes and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Again, going into that risk element, right? So that was a super risky move, but it obviously paid off. And then we found manufacturers in the UAE, because that was one of the drivers I wanted to do. I didn't want to do a kind of a China thing or Hong Kong or Portugal kind of manufacturing. A, because I didn't know this market at all. B, it was heavy risk. If something went wrong, what would I do? I had no idea. So I thought I need to find someone in the UAE, and also you can leverage that, UAE homegrown market. Yeah. So I have some sort of differentiating factor. So yeah, long story short, they came to us, they wanted uniform, and I thought it would just be for a couple of trainers, but it worked out around 2,000 pieces across staff, back office, like everyone in that kind of facility needed kit. So I'm already just looking at, a sports bra and leggings set and a t-shirt and short sets, to polos, joggers, hoodies, jackets, that whole world. So we managed to find a supplier in the in the UAE, and we manufactured things with them. And even that scope was a learning curve for me, right? Like I didn't understand SKUs, I didn't understand sizes. I didn't know the difference between EU sizes, UK sizes. Okay. Is there any UAE sizing? So super quickly learned that. And that was the tipping point. Like I knew that worked, so we delivered that really well. And then from there, we were approached by other gyms. So other gyms wanted uniform, they wanted kit, they wanted giveaways, they wanted kit for their trainers that are competing in competitions. And then just through that traction, especially in Dubai, like PalmFit had a touch point with the majority of the gyms, whether it's from a uniform perspective, whether it's from a competition perspective, a giveaway perspective, there's always something that we've done with some gym here. Which has obviously worked quite well. So again, taking the risk element to it, I knew that we could potentially do it. And then I just weighed the risk up. So I said, okay, we don't want to do the Far East kind of packaging and shipping and all of that world. If something got stuck, I don't know what would happen. I have to kind of figure that out. Whereas I went down the UAE route, so already kind of took that risk factor out. And then, like I said, from there, it's just grown into what it is now.
I think one of the questions I was actually going to ask you was whether there was a point where you had your belief validated. Would you say it was this opportunity that sort
100%.
Of made you think that, we can actually sort of do this?
Do you know what it is? It's in every entrepreneur, whichever product, whichever service, whatever you're doing, when you see someone else in something that you've created, that's the big validation. Like even now, if I go to the gym or I'm training, I see someone wearing a PalmFit set, I see them wearing a PalmFit uniform or whatever it is, you get this buzz that, it's worth it. Like people are enjoying your products, people like your products, people are training in your products. So for me, the big one was whenever I went to WellFit, and I just saw all the trainers, I saw the staff, because I saw that building when it was almost rubble, nothing was there. And then to see like that building come alive, then people in that gym, trainers wearing our stuff, that was massive for us, right? Like I knew that I could do this and then I could scale it quite quickly. Okay. So yeah, that validation was day one. As soon as you see someone wearing a top or anything that you're producing, then it's massive.
And how far into the journey was that?
Oh, that was honestly probably like within 6 months.
Seriously?
Yeah,
wow,
it was rapid.
Did you expect?
No, not in the slightest. Okay. And this is why I think entrepreneurship, like I'm quite a big believer that there's an element of luck there, right? Because like I said, if I didn't do that competition, I wouldn't have met that person. I would have been connected to welfare. I wouldn't have done all the uniforms. It's almost like that domino effect. Yeah. But that one moment, which was purely luck. It wasn't like I never planned for that. I never did any of that. It just came about, which then led to the domino. That was massive.
But I think you had obviously put yourself forward for the competition.
Yep.
You had said yes to this offer. Those two decisions already, other people would have not put themselves forward and would have said, no, we can't, or maybe not now, can you give us a couple more months, whatever. But I think, as you said, yes, maybe there's a luck or a fate element to it, but there is something about your makeup and the way that you're wired that has sort of led you to some of these situations that have then sort of brought about success as well.
I mean, I think there's an element of, so you always have to back yourself, right? Especially any journey. Like this is not just a clothing thing or a gym thing or anything I'm doing, but I think any kind of entrepreneur that's looking to build something, number one key point, like back yourself, because if you're not backing yourself, the belief, you're not going to get backing from anyone, right? Like number one lesson is just back yourself and just believe you can do it.
Yeah.
Things might not turn out how you hope them to turn out. There might be a slight tweak, but certainly when I've gone into these conversations and when I've tried speaking to these gyms or even just cold calling people or just meeting people, I've always had a belief that we will get into this gym or something will happen.
T-shirt at the beginning, and now you have like a sports bra and you have like a pair of socks. How do you make sure that although they're different fabrics and materials, that the level of quality that PalmFit is known for, that made people buy the first couple of things, are sort of or is represented like along the way?
Yeah, so like I still remember the first set we got was like, it was bad. Like when I mean bad, it was bad.
And how do you define bad? Is it the way
I
it
just
feels?
know,
Is it the way,
feeling, look, touch. And it's one of the things, as I've done this through the years, like I think it's the 3rd or 4th year we're doing this now. And that's still a super small amount of time, right? But we've grown and we've learned a lot. You just know by looking, by feeling, by touching, you know compositions, you know what's good. If I take it back to my early days, I had absolutely no idea. I thought leggings were leggings. I thought shorts were shorts, right? And I still remember the first batch we got of leggings and they were like really bad. So the whole Wellfit story, when we showed them the first pair of leggings, I thought they were really good because I thought leggings were leggings. I'll never forget the fear I got when trainers came in trying them. And you can tell that someone's being polite, but they just don't like it.
Yeah.
It was that kind of element. And then you're like, this is not working. So very, very quickly on, I decided that we need to hire the right amount of people and we need to bring people that have the expertise that I don't have, which I think is a really key point, right? I think a lot of people in an entrepreneurship world are quite scared to delegate or quite scared to, pass on power or perceive power because they just want to keep everything. They know what they want. So, they're the best person to deliver a product. I learned that out quite quickly, that I'm not the best person to do this. And if I hold power, if I keep everything with me, things are going to go wrong. And it's going to take me double time to try fixing it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to hire people to fix the problems I've caused myself. So we decided to hire designers, product developers, graphic designers, and have like a dedicated sourcing of products and production. Okay. Having all those places right, we knew we could develop a product and a good product. But then the other factor is also listening to your customers, right? So certain gyms want something, certain gyms want the other. They have a specific need, they have a specific requirement. Just understand your customers, understand what they want, and then have your team kind of work with the customer or work with you to kind of deliver that product. So over time, our range, if you look at our early day stuff to like our stuff now, there's a significant amount of change there. And even going forward now, that change is going to get bigger and bigger.
Okay, nice. You did mention just now that you have been very happy to allow other people's opinions and other people's help essentially to come into the business. One of the things that PalmFit is known for is how it caters for women as well. It's obviously a unisex brand, but does have a really strong affinity with lots of women in the UAE and around the Middle East. How have you, firstly, why did you go down that route and how did you spot that as an opportunity?
So again, just by chance, right? So I think really, really early on, we had the opportunity to work with DP World.
Okay.
So they approached us for one of their golf tournaments. What they wanted to do is they wanted to create a line of golf wear for Emirati women. So that was a completely different world for us, right? Like I play golf, but that's really bad. And so I didn't know the product, I didn't know the range. And these were Emirati women that didn't feel that golf wear was modest enough for them.
Right.
So they approached us, they worked with us with a capsule collection, and they wore that to their tournaments, right? They play in those kits, they play around the world in those kits, and they fit the cultural needs of what they need, right? And then through that, we knew that we had a set demographic of ladies that liked kit. And then just through there, it kind of just spiraled into, okay, let's think of ladies in general and think of what they need. What do they need here? And the affinity that I think we have with a lot of people that buy our products is they like the UAE angle. They like it's a local brand. We're not trying to be this, massive international brand, and that's not what we want to do. We want to remain quite focused on our roots. We want to do a lot of community projects. We want to do a lot of things that give back to the community here, as well as building a UAE brand, and that's kind of our core focus.
And so, firstly, that opportunity is amazing that came to you, and you're also able to pull it off. Have you ever not been able to pull off one of these opportunities that have come to you, or do you always say yes and then figure it out? And then
No, I think, yeah, so this is the main lesson we've learned. Not stay within your lanes, but stay within your means, right? So like I said, we're not trying to be this, this massive conglomerate business that might come later on. Like I don't know what the future holds, but I feel that if we're upfront with clients straight away and we tell them, yes, we can do this, or no, we can't do this, or yes, we can do this, but it will take this time frame. Almost the power is back to the client, right? The client knows the expectation, and we can either deliver that on a time frame, or we can deliver it quicker. But we'll always give a time frame. So there's been opportunities where clients want things super, super quick. It'd be very easy for me to say, oh, this is revenue. You say yes and kind of figure it out. But PalmFit is a relationship-driven business, especially in the UAE, right? Going back to our early conversation, our network, if everyone in the kind of the fitness space knows everyone, like if you go to competitions, everyone kind of knows everyone. I just wouldn't want PalmFit to be associated with a brand that doesn't deliver on time or over promises, because if you burn the bridge with some people, you don't know their network, and everyone, like I said, is connected with someone, it would have a detrimental effect to the brand. So we always say, we sit with all our clients and we say, look, if you need kit, this is a time frame, we'll work with you, you'll have access to our graphic designers, production team, but this is a time frame. Are you okay with that? Yes. And then we'll work with you.
And no, thank you for that. From the perspective of people that are ambitious, especially from an entrepreneurial or a professional perspective, where do you draw the line in terms of saying yes and putting yourself forward for a big opportunity, like supplying a tournament or a new sponsor or a new partner or whatever, maybe going for a new job, going for a promotion? Where do you draw the line between knowing, again, staying within your means and saying, I think I can do this. It might take literally like every bit of resource that I have, but I think I can just about put it off, and that can put me on sort of another level in the business world or in my career. Yeah, what would you say to people that are sort of looking to get to the next level? Where do you draw the line between, like trying and failing because you had no right sort of going for that, and putting yourself forward because you have that belief that you can become something more?
So that's a really good question, actually, right? So number one, I think if you want to try to do something different and it fails, it's not a bad thing, right? It really isn't a bad thing, because you've tried and you've learned something. You know that something it just wasn't for you, right? Whatever it is. But also, if something fails, you learn more from something that fails than something that goes right.
That's really
right?
true.
It's massive.
Yeah.
So I've learned more lessons on PalmFit from my professional career to like life lessons, everything when it's gone badly.
Yeah.
Because if everything goes well, like you're not really learning stuff. Like things might happen, like fate, or you just might be in the right place. But if everything goes well, how are you going to adapt when things go wrong?
Yeah.
So if anyone's trying to start a journey, whatever that journey is, no matter how small anything is, just go for it. Right? There's nothing, as long as you've done your risk analysis and you're not, putting all your eggs in one basket, and you can, if something does go wrong, it's, doesn't impact you massively, go for it. There's nothing like stopping you. And the culture we live in here, just think that people are doing stuff. People are trying to build a different life. But the other caveat I would say to that is Dubai is one of those places where it can become quite difficult, because if you're around people that are constantly growing or constantly trying to do different things, but you're okay with your lifestyle, you almost feel that, am I doing something wrong? Right? Which is really weird, right?
Yeah.
Because whenever I go back home and I meet my friends, they're all just, doing their things. Even my siblings, they're doing what they want to do. That's what they do. Even when I was in the UK, I never had this, I need to do something, right? Like I loved it on a Sunday going to Tesco. Like that was what I liked doing, right? That's just the thing I did.
Before, like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because you got to close at 5. But here, that's kind of another challenge. So it's not always a bad thing saying that, I'm okay. I don't need to constantly try and find something. I'm all right with my life. But those that are trying to do something and have that hesitation, like I said, as long as you risk critique it and it's okay and you can handle it, go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a conversation I had with somebody recently. I think you're right. Being in Dubai and surrounded by so many ambitious people, forward thinkers, people that are trying to do things, I guess it would give somebody who isn't doing something the feeling that they should be doing something, which isn't bad, but I think it should be the right thing.
Yep.
I'm somebody that actually thinks everyone should be doing something. Now, that something could look completely different. That something could be, as a parent, you're trying to, I don't know, learn more about how your child learns, or I don't know, the best diet that they should be on, or I don't know, whatever, but you should be trying to improve some area of life, right? But I think a lot of people look at it as though it has to be business, it has to be something.
It's a monetary value.
Yeah, it has to be something that's making money, or something that's in the public eye, or something that is sort of, I don't know, causing some sort of a stir. But I think for me, the thing just has to be something that is important to you, and you feel that you can either learn a lot from, or that you already have some life lessons to help you achieve that thing or whatever. And so, yeah, I think that's probably where I draw the balance, or bring the balance, because yeah, it's great to be challenged by people around you, but it's not then good to then be pushed into this, I have to start something, I have to do something, and then you sort of end up thinking, well, why did I do that? Right? It has to be the purpose.
And also, it has to be something you enjoy. Because don't get me wrong, like doing anything, like any business or whatever it is, it takes time, right? And it's not always going to be rosy. You're not going to always have things that work out. Like in our early days of PalmFit, it wasn't like a money-making machine. It's still not there now, but I could have just stopped and thought, we're not getting anywhere. There's a lot of doubt that comes into that journey. So it has to be something that you're passionate about. It has to be something that, you're going to enjoy, because there's going to be periods where it's the going is going to get tough, or things don't work out how it is, and you're still going to have to keep going. So there's nothing wrong with just saying, look, I've got what I've got, and that's okay with me.
So on purpose, so authentic, bold, and resilient, these are the 3 pillars of PalmFit. How did you, why did you choose those? Why those 3?
So from an activewear standpoint, there's hundreds of these companies, right? So you have your big players like your Adidas's and those type of players, but there's a huge market of what I call like Me Too brands. So they have all the kind of the values that all the other brands have, like vision and being a brand that caters for everyone, and they kind of all merge into one. What we wanted to do is I want to build a brand that is GCC focused, UAE-based, but a sports brand. So what we're trying to do now is we're not trying to cater for gym. Like that's not what we want to try to do. Gym will be one of our pillars, but we want to look at golf, we want to look at paddle, we want to look at sports and become an authentic GCC sports brand. There isn't kind of any in the market that are doing that, and that's kind of what we want to do. From a resilience factor, it's almost down to our team. Like our team are junior, they're all based here. Like we don't have offshore teams and things like that. We're a really, really small knit group, and things do go wrong, but it's about kind of adapting to those changes, adapting to the pressures, adapting to client requirements, and becoming more resilient. And the boldness of what we're trying to do is activewear is a super, super, super challenging market. Like it's really, really difficult. It's one of the sayings that I really enjoy is that comparison is a thief of joy. So whenever we're on Instagram or whenever we're looking anywhere really with gyms or kind of this whole market, because it's so dominated by fitness, there's challenger brands that are coming in every single day. Like you just see them, right? They're everywhere. So you have to be kind of stuck in your ways and stuck in your beliefs that you're offering something different to people. Whether we might not be everywhere in events, we might not be doing all these massive sponsorship deals and all things like that. But we have our pockets and where we're trying to do, and through that we believe that we will grow. So those 3 kind of pillars that we're trying to build our products towards also mirrors what our team's all about, also represents what we're trying to do with our clients. So it's almost like a multifaceted pillar across everything.
Yeah, okay, nice. So it's been about 4 years now. If, from what you've learned, if PalmFit were to add a 4th pillar, what would that be?
I would say, if we were to add a 4th pillar, I would say, that's a tough question, I've never thought about. I would say fun, right? The reason I would say fun is, how can I put this? Whenever we started this brand, it became super, super serious, right? Because we had clients that were delivering multi-million-dollar projects, and we had to always be quite serious, we weren't ever joyful. It wasn't ever like an enjoyable experience from the early days, because we were learning under super, super strict timelines, getting our products right, having products that didn't work. But now, as we've come out of that learning phase and kind of understand our clients, understand the products, we want to make PalmFit more joyful. Does that make sense? From a brand perspective. So we want to do we want our reels to be more interactive, not so much heavily focused on fitness. They could be, you know, anything, like whatever we want to create something about, whether that's fitness related or whether that's lifestyle related or whether that's, you know, just connecting with our audience.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we want to pivot ourselves to. We also want people to enjoy what we're doing. So one of the things that we did early days is our Instagram is my PalmFit, because what we want to try to do, we could have done PalmFit, but we want people to believe in the brand. We want them to see that PalmFit is kind of like that's your brand, right? So it's mine as well. But now what we want to do is shift the messaging to look as PalmFit is that fun, not super serious brand that you know, anyone, whether you're playing golf, whether you're playing paddle, whether you're a beginner or a pro, there's some form of pocket that you can do. So yeah, I would say probably next pillar would be fun.
Nice. I actually thought what you might say, I was thinking community, but I think that really does align with what you said from a social media perspective, from an event perspective, and also your team as well. You seem to have an amazing team. And as you said before, like the current three pillars really align with the purpose, but also with the people that you've hired and the people that you're working with. So I think that's quite powerful. On the community angle, can you talk to me about the power of the people that have been part of the brand, that buy into the brand, and also the events that you've done as well? Like, how has that helped the growth of the company?
So it goes back, I think, to my earlier bit around the challenger brands here. So there's loads of brands, right? Everyone's doing well. Everyone's kind of doing what they need to do. Community is massive though. Like it is really big. I don't think I actually really understood how big it was until you're in it, right? With anything, any kind of business, anything like that, you need to have a belief, or you need to have people that believe in your products, believe in your message, believe in what you're trying to do, whether that's from a founder perspective, whether product perspective, or even just messaging. So we try partnering with a certain amount of gyms. We do kind of their uniforms, we do their coaches kits, we do community-driven projects. So we're doing a Movember project in the next couple of weeks with another community. It's just we want more eyes on PalmFit, but we want to be quite selective of not so much the eyes, but more the messaging, right? Because I feel that there are certain brands out there that will go everywhere, right? And the messaging can get quite diluted. Like, you know, what are you trying to be? Like, what is your position in that market? Where are you trying to do stuff? So PalmFit right now will focus on kind of three main pillars. There'll be the gym. We want to look at paddle. We want to look at golf. That's kind of our three core sports. And then we're involved in cricket. We want to get involved in rugby. But the other thing that we want to do and want to be really passionate about is schools. Okay. So from a community perspective, we want to be in as many schools as we can.
When you say in schools, what would that look like?
So PE kits, gym kits, being that UAE-focused brand, because one of our other kind of avenues that we're looking to diversify into is sustainability. Okay, so one of the major plus points with PalmFit is if you look at our products from a school's perspective, they're made here. So if you're looking at a sustainable angle, you can have schools ordering 50 pieces or 10 pieces or one piece, and they will get 50 pieces. For us, we don't have MOQs, right? So normally if you go to a China or you go, you know, abroad, they're going to say you need 100 pieces of large, right? If you look at a school, that's not going to work, right? Or they'll order that in and it'll be just kit wasted. We don't really want to do that. So a lot of our stuff is made to order. So if a parent orders a pair of shorts for their child, we will make that and we will send that. So we won't have a bucket of things. So we get a lot of connectivity from a sustainable angle. So even one of our main partnerships in the next couple of weeks, there's something called the ILT20, which is like the IPL version within the UAE. So they're doing a T20 competition. Okay. We're partnering up with a team called the Desert Vipers. So the Desert Vipers, their mission is all about sustainability. They want to be kind of the leaders of sustainability. Okay. So all of our kit that we're doing, there's an element of sustainability in there, whether that's water-based dyes, recycled fabrics, any of that kind of world. That's where we fit in with those guys. So that's kind of how we want to transition the brand and build that community. Yeah,
man, I really like, I think you speaking about your brand, you speak about it with so much authenticity, and someone that has thought a lot about it, and a lot of the moves you guys have made just sound so purposeful. Like you've decided to do this, you've decided not to do that. And yeah, I think that's really, from an entrepreneurship angle, many people would have been in business for this long and are now either just only trying to make money or only trying to grow in certain ways. You've, again, already said that you're not necessarily at this moment trying to become, you know, the biggest company in the world. You sort of know your target market, you know what you want to do in the Middle East, in the UAE in particular, and who you're trying to go after, who you want to partner with. And it just sounds very controlled. I think sometimes business can take over the person, and they sort of just get pulled down a certain road and don't necessarily know how they've gotten there. But you sound as though you've actually been very conscious in terms of the decisions that you guys have made in terms of.
I think it's also if you put your hand in too many pockets, you're just going to get burnt. Like it's not going to work. So that's what we try not to do. We know what our strengths are. We know what products we can do. We know kind of the sports we can target.
How long did it take you to get to that point though? Because
I think you're forever learning. Like I don't think it's a case of, one day we decided cricket could work for us. Like we kind of know what cricket needs. Same with like the gym, or same with uniforms, or same with paddle. Like we know what they need. Can we develop products for that at a level that we're suitable with and our clients are suitable with? If the answer is yes, we'll do it. But for example, things like MMA, right? So MMA is quite a big, it's massive in the UAE.
Okay.
We've been approached by organizations that want us to do jiu-jitsu stuff and move into that world. It's just not what we're comfortable doing. Like we might do it later on, and it might be a pocket. If we see a big enough market, we might try developing stuff. But as of this moment, like I don't want to undeliver just terrible product, because then again, it goes down to the network, goes down to the messaging. I don't know the damaging effect that would have if there was an athlete that is super into his paddle or super into golf, but he had a really bad experience with MMA. It's almost like I'm not going to touch these guys because part A didn't work. So I think you're forever learning. Like you are, like you adapt a brand. What you think it's going to be on day one to now is completely different. But it's also just understanding what you're good at.
Okay. And so looking at what you're good at and the purpose angle, how are you measuring the success of the business outside of just revenue?
Will be eyes on the brand, the kind of type of conversations we're having, the type of clients that are approaching us. I'll be seeing, like right now we're in talks with more gyms in Saudi, some gyms in Kuwait. We've launched in Saudi with Landmark Group. So if I look at it from a optic level, yes, revenue is massive, right? Everyone wants to make money. That's the whole point of doing business. But we've never, as a brand, been one that chases the money, if that makes sense. We feel that if we have strong, meaningful connections, a strong, meaningful network, a brand that people know can develop product that's good within timeframes, all of that, the kind of revenue will take care of itself. Obviously, as we grow and we go into more products, then the revenue kind of piece will become more important or dominant. But right now, where we stand, I think we have a good position in UAE. We work with a diverse number of clients, and that is obviously growing. Like for us, I didn't know anything about cricket. Obviously, from a sports perspective, we know cricket. But from an apparel standpoint, it was really, really super learning on the job. But the conversation we had from the team that wanted us to do it, they knew about PalmFit, they heard about PalmFit, they knew what we were doing from other gyms. So that kind of, when you go to the revenue piece, you'll kind of feed into that. So as long as we have more meaningful conversations, I think that's kind of the optics that we look at.
Okay, nice. You do seem really plugged into the UAE, and I think this brand, being what it is a real anchor to this nation. Could you ever see yourself moving back to London or to the UK?
Right now?
Yeah.
Like I feel like, I think I was one of these people that I really wanted to move here. Like I had that, like I've met people that came in, never went on holiday here, never visited Dubai before, and they moved here. But like for me, before PalmFit, just from a career perspective, from a banking perspective, like it took like 8-9 years of actually wanting to move here and then moving here, right? So to move back, obviously the challenging thing I think people find here is like my parents aren't here, right? They're back home. My siblings aren't here. I've got a nephew back home. So a family aspect, that would be probably for me quite a deciding factor, right? Everyone wants to be around their family, or they want to have some form of connection with their family. Mine are all back in the UK. So if things change in that aspect, then yeah, potentially, then we would look to move back. But for now, like I just feel that the lifestyle, the conversation, the business opportunities, even work opportunities, all mirrors. There's too many pros for me to kind of say, okay, you know what, let's just go back home. And also it's almost like I'd be almost fearful to go back home. Like I don't know what that world looks like. Could you adapt very quickly? Could you get back into the norm? Like I know people that have moved back home and then come back again because they found it challenging to adapt. But for now, I'm stuck here.
Okay. And could you have built this brand in the UK? We've spoken about differences in the people you find, in the society, how it works. What does the differences that you see in entrepreneurship, could you have built PalmFit over there?
I think you can build something in the UK. I think like, look, I don't want to make this like a pessimistic approach on the UK, right? But I think it's a lot more challenging. Two reasons why. I think in the UAE, from my experience, more people are open to helping you. Even if there's no gain for them, I've had conversations with people in stores, I've had conversations with conglomerates, I've had conversations with people that work in conglomerates that have guided me and directed me into things that will work, won't work, how to do it, how not to do it. In the UK, I don't think I would have that kind of world. I don't have that network. I don't even know how to start that network. So that's number one. And also Dubai, like if I compare it to London, right, it's relatively small. Everyone kind of knows everyone. It's a lot more people are approachable for conversations, so you can get your door into conversations a lot more. Whereas in the UK, I think it's driven by marketing spend, marketing budget. Like it's a lot more challenging. So for us, from my experience, the UAE market to grow a business is challenging. Don't get me wrong, like it is really, really hard, but I don't feel it'll be as hard as doing something in the UK.
Okay, fair. No, thank you for that. One thing I think is really admirable about you is that you have been really committed to growing this business, but you've remained committed and a high performer at work. How have you actually managed to do that? I think a lot of companies wouldn't want their employees to have, a business outside of work, whether you want to call it a side hustle or whatever, especially if, that little thing that they do actually begins to take off and do really well. Yeah. It's clear that you've continued to perform well at work. How have you actually managed to do that and not give any of, your managers, whatever, cause for concern?
Yeah. So it goes down to communication, right? So like everyone in my professional world know about PalmFit. Like you have to be super open, you have to go through this approval channels and you have to get everything kind of signed off. So before me making a product, I needed to make sure that my professional angle was taken care of. It wasn't, I didn't want to be seen doing things behind people's back because ultimately they gave me the opportunity to move here, right? So there's an element of respect that you have to maintain. So we got all the approvals, we got everything in place. And it was literally in the early days, the kind of that entrepreneurship mindset where I was doing HSBC like the whole day. I'd either wake up super early and do PalmFit or I'd do PalmFit in the evening. So again, going back to the, conversation around if people are trying to set up their own companies or their own kind of world, it's not always easy, right? Like I was literally working pretty much all the time because when else could I do it? And then the weekends are taken up by that type of world. But as we've matured and as we've hired the right people, and this is the other point, right? You need to have trust in your employees or people that work for you or your freelancers or whatever it is. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't maintain HSBC, right? It just wouldn't work. I just couldn't be able to do it. Whereas now we have like a super important team, like we have a core team, they handle everything. We've got sales guys. So I'm kind of coming in if they need escalation or if they need, me to go to a gym on a Saturday or a Sunday or after work or anything like that. That kind of helps. Okay. So yeah, trust in your current team, having an open communication with your current employers. And they have been really good to me. Like they do understand what we're trying to do.
And how has being a senior experienced banker helped you in setting up this business, but also how has the growth and the success of running PalmFit helped in your banking career as well?
So I would say from a experience standpoint, look, in any career, as you get more senior, you learn how to handle kind of tough situations. I think if I was junior doing PalmFit, I think if something went wrong, I would A, take it really personally, or B, I'd be quite anxious around, has to be fixed, like very impulsive. Whereas working in banking, from my experience, it's kind of a measured industry. Okay. Whereas the being reactive isn't most suited in banking. You have to kind of like understand what the process is. You have to understand what the issue is. You have to kind of build a kind of a resilient mind frame. That super helped me in PalmFit because, like I said, early days, things were going wrong, things weren't working, I didn't understand things, but you just need to develop that mindset that if you just calm yourself, understand the problem, understand what your deliverables are, you'll be okay. And that's the massive mindset. The other thing, then, if you flip it, is we have people that are just from different nationalities, different backgrounds. Some are junior, some are senior. Like we have some person on our team has 25 years in this kind of space.
Wow.
We have a super junior that's an intern, right? So just coming out of university. So handling that kind of communication chain from someone who knows something, you know, that grasps SKUs and grasps margins and grasps all of that, to someone that doesn't really know what CAD drawings are. You have to kind of have a whole level of conversations. And if I take that to my professional aspect, we have graduates, right? We have, you know, senior MDs, we have directors, we have all of that kind of world. So I would say the main thing that I've taken back to my banking life is that kind of that communication aspect. And being a bit more measured, being a bit more understanding, not feeling that, you know, because I understand something, assuming that someone else is going to understand it. So kind of adapting yourself to that situation.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. Final couple of questions. I obviously did a lot of research before interviewing you, and even speaking with you today, the importance and the understanding of what a brand actually is something that I've just learned so much about. What for you is it that you want people to feel when they wear PalmFit?
Number one, I want them to be proud that they're wearing a local brand. Like, I think that's really important to me. I want them to understand that PalmFit is a multifaceted sports brand. So for example, I've noticed quite a lot when I play, especially when I play other sports that are similar to gym.
Okay.
So for example, paddle and tennis, right? For me, I'd wear the same products I wear in the gym in paddle, right? What I want to try shifting the mindset to and try building PalmFit into is being that sports brand that caters for the specific sport. So you're not wearing a pair of shorts and a pair of a pair of shorts, t-shirts, socks, or whatever it is for loads of different sports. I want someone to wear like PalmFit in the gym or doing a high rocks competition, but when they're playing paddle, they have a paddle specific sport or of kit. They have a golf specific kit. So I want people to almost feel that PalmFit is that brand for them, that they can wear different products for different sports and not have to just be just this one small brand. But main thing is like just being proud of wearing a local brand, right? Like I find that really, really key. And I think that's why we've got quite a big affinity with certain people, because they know that we make it here. They know that they can see products. Like if they want to go and visit our factory, come and visit our factory, right? So that's kind of the main thing. Like I just want people to be proud of supporting a local brand.
And speaking about pride, what is your proudest moment on this journey so far?
On the PalmFit journey?
Yeah.
I would say probably stepping out of my own shoes, right? Because I didn't come from, like I said, I didn't come from this background of fashion. I didn't come from this background of understanding pricing and margins, and I never knew any of that stuff. And then to see us now partnering up with, you know, Supermax gyms, independent gyms, professional sports teams, I can never imagine it to be like this. I thought PalmFit was just going to be a COVID thing, and then COVID finishes, I'd get back to, you know, my world and just kind of die away. But it really took off, right? And I've had to adapt in such a short period of time to understand this world of fashion, this world of sports. And yeah, it's just still instilling that belief that I can do that. And then it's also like, I don't know what the future holds. So it's that level of excitement, but I have more confidence that I could probably shift and pivot into a different sport, a different, whichever world PalmFit takes in the next couple of years. I think I've got the belief now that I can do that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. And what would you like the next few years to look like? You sort of touched on a little bit about some of the plans that you have, but 4 years in, the next sort of 4 or 5 years, what could we expect, or what would, in your ideal world, PalmFit look like?
So I think the pinnacle is I want PalmFit to be the GCC's #1 sports brand.
Okay.
Right? Not a gym brand, not a high rocks brand, not any of that kind of, that world. I want it to be a sports brand. So I want us to focus on different sports. I want us to have a multi-avenue of athletes, or that kind of, that consolidated approach. That's what we're trying to build. Like, we're not trying to be another gym brand. We're not trying to be a golf brand. We're not trying to be a paddle brand. We're trying to be a sports brand. So that's something from our kind of sports angle, but also we want to look at partnerships with professional teams, whether that's in cricket, rugby, football, whichever world that is. That would be kind of the pinnacle of what we're trying to do, trying to be a GCC sports brand.
Okay. Nice. No, thank you. And one of the tagline, the slogan is Dubai being, or the UAE, but I guess Dubai here being the capital of ambition. If you were to finish the sentence, Dubai is the capital of ambition because, how would you end that?
The conversations with people. So I feel like here, in order to have ambition, you need people that believe in that ambition, but also people that can drive that ambition. Like it's all well and said that I want to do X or I want to do Y, but you need people to buy into that. You need people to understand that, help you. I feel like, especially Dubai, and from my perspective, PalmFit wouldn't be where it is today if I didn't have conversations with people. I didn't have open conversation. I didn't get support from people that have no need to support me, but they do it because of the mindset. Yeah. So I feel like people here it's massive. Like having ambition is great, but you just need people to support that ambition and help you drive that ambition. Without that, ambition, it will just be something in the air, right? You're not going to deliver on products. Or you will, but it might be harder. Yeah. Whereas for me, if we didn't have the people, PalmFit wouldn't be on this trajectory, or it wouldn't have got to this level. It might have got there in a couple of years. But yeah, I think that's super key.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I think I really actually, I agree. I think ambition is something that's in the air here, but it's the conversations with people that crystallize that into like a real thing. Yeah. And it's part of the reason I'm doing this podcast, right? I've just found so many amazing people doing such amazing things since I moved here that I wanted to have conversations with them and understand their background, what's driving them, and why they've set up what they've set up. So for you, I can only say like a massive thank you for coming on, being open about your journey, and I think the meaning behind what you have built and what you are building just really, really comes through. And I think that's such a powerful thing, because I think it's quite difficult when you're trying to grow something to still connect with the meaning and have that actually shine through more and more over time, which is what I think you've done. So thanks very much. And hope we can continue the conversation.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.